Awesome. Good to have you, Kimo. I've been waiting to do this interview with you because I know a lot of our users, a lot of the people out here on YouTube want to get an idea of the man behind everything, behind Investor Central Club, behind STAX. These last few months, we've really pushed to try and show off what it is that we're doing here, especially with our STAX AI software and all the tools that we're trying to bring to the public. I know it's Saturday. We don't want to spend too much time here, but let's get this started. The very first question that I know all of our viewers wanted to hear from you is how did ICC or Investor Central Club get started? And what were some of the visions that you had for it?
Yeah, well, Eric, first off, excited to be here. Really passionate about where we've taken ICC and Stacks life to date. But, just to kind of answer your question, started ICC. It was May of 2018, right before shelter in place and then COVID and all of that hit. I was actually late to the game to opening a Discord and starting that. Prior to it, working at Amazon, doing my 9 to 5. I would only trade in the mornings. It's a little bittersweet, but I live on the West Coast. I live in California. So market opens at 6:30 a.m. Obviously, at the time, trading options, I was a small fish trying to get my feet wet. And at the same time, being 20, 23, 22 years old, a couple $100 was a lot to me. Right. And from where I started to try and make my day's income in less than 30 minutes, I started showing that off of my personal Instagram prior to me, creating, Investor Central Club. And people were amazed. They're like, wow, he just made like $300 in like 3 minutes. Is what is he doing? How can I get in? Why is he having this level of consistency and success while he's doing a 9 to 5? Keep in mind, back in the day, having a couple extra $100 or not working an entire 8 to 10 hour shift, and you're making that same amount of money in a couple minutes. People were very interested, very intrigued. And then from there, I was very far off of trying to build a platform where we can kind of create a community where I can show people and whatnot. But fast forward, another year, I eventually did. There were a few people that reached out and be like, look, like I want to learn from you. I want to see how you trade. I want to figure out your edge, your success. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I don't even need to create a Discord or anything. Let's just jump on a Zoom call. Let's just get on a call. Like, let me just show you, man. Like, just come over. Right. And then from there, I found a lot of traction. I gained almost 20,000 Instagram followers in like 6 months. Like, oh, it's low key, like I went viral. And then from there, I continued to show transparency. I did this every single day. I wake up at like 6:15 in the morning, eye boogers and everything. Just like barely waking up, go to the restroom, drink a glass of water, get into a trade, couple minutes, get in, get out, and after that, I get ready for my 9 to 5. Right. Very simple. Right. And then, of course, there were people that were thinking and talking like, there's no way I'll make like a 55% return in a few minutes off of the volatility, off of options. And then, people will be very skeptical, be like, the stock only moved 2% today. How did you make a 55% return? And of course, going into the beginner route, right? Because in college or even at the end of high school, no one really teaches you about investing or trading or even options for that matter. What they do kind of float around is dividend investing, long-term portfolio, right? And the first stock I ever bought was straight out of high school, and it was SKT and T, which is some REIT, real estate, stock, and also AT&T. Right. And I was all about, oh, yeah, I'm going to grow this long-term dividend portfolio. I'm going to create my wealth doing this. Right. And I kid you not, it was like a 3 month period in. I gained about like a 2% return. I got my dividend payment. And after that, the stock dropped like 10%. And I just lost everything. If anything, I lost more than getting anything back. And then I'm seeing all these other people finding a level of success, quote unquote, quick money, but it's consistent quick money rather than me dropping money on equity, waiting for that dividend, waiting for some level of return for the stock price action to go up. And then 3 months in, I'm down like 12%. So that's pretty much the gist of how I got started and how I eventually turned to creating Investor Central Club. And of course, from there, eventually branching out to new ventures, such as our new software STAX. It is an AI-aided software and platform in which many of our users also have found success and edge in to become and stay consistently profitable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just so the viewers also know how I ended up getting involved was, I was following you on Instagram. I know Kimo from our college days, ultimately noticing how options moved a lot differently than equity. And just like you said, equity still has its own game. There are people who go the extremely long-term route, but there are ways where if you do understand how options move and how the other calculations of options are done, there is profitability to be had. And I do want to thank you throughout the time of you sharing, being transparent throughout Instagram, got me into this, got me involved, and got me involved in the development of STAX and our Discord as well. Before we jump into STAX, though, I do want to kind of bring attention to, I know a couple people have probably overlooked this, but on the main Investor Central page, there actually are quite a few news publications that actually have invited you to discuss things. I've seen a LA Weekly and Yahoo Finance and these big names. Can you shed some light as to what got you involved with that? Did they just reach out and ask you after seeing what's going on Instagram? What was it that got you that type of claim to fame here?
Yeah, in the same short amount of time, received like almost 20,000 followers in a span of 6 months. We do have publications, doctors, lawyers, news reporters, and whatnot in our Discord as well, all doing the same thing that I preached. I worked a 9 to 5. I was trading on the side. I was literally making more by trading than working 8 to 10 hours per day. All of these people that wanted to find a new level of source of income reached out. They were like, wow, let me see what you're doing. Let me find this success that you're also having. Now, from there, after joining the Discord, I showed them the realms, I showed them the ropes, I showed them how to do this. And then from there, they're like, wow, this actually works. Most of their first trades, if not the most first 5 trades, were all successful, made a couple hundred or even a couple $1,000. And there was one news reporter that is still also in our ICC Discord, reached out and like, hey, let me make a free newsletter for you. I currently work for Yahoo Finance as kind of like an intern, I guess you can call him, but he was, getting paid and all that. Made a newsletter out. And then all of a sudden, in less than 2 weeks, I did get some reach in terms of let me find this success as well. From that, not only did that grasp new members and more users and more people interested in the entire industry, that also created an opportunity for me to jump on, web calls and Zoom calls and just kind of giving them the idea of there is more to it than just buying equity and long-term investing. There is multiple strategies out there that you can utilize. We're not trying to preach, quit your job and trade full time, but there are ways for you to make ends meet. Right. And plus more for vacations, for doing other things, right? If you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to learn a new skill set at the end of the day, then, it will go far in terms of what you can do aside from your 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, I really like that. One of the things that I always have heard about not only how I feel about you, but also what a lot of the other members and other people that I've come across, when they speak about Kimo, one of the things that you always hear about is his willingness to help. Just like you said, from the friends that hit you up on Instagram, from the people out on Discord, when people reach out to ask for help, I very rarely hear them say, "Oh yeah, Kimo charged me this much money to go talk for 30 minutes or an hour." Usually it's saying, "Hey, we jumped on a Zoom call, we had a chat, he showed me the ropes a little bit, or went over and we hung out, had a cup of coffee, hung out, and he just showed me what's possible." And from there, you kind of let them decide whether or not they want to continue with the learning on their own. But that's one of the main things I do find a lot of pride in being a part of this Discord and being a part of our community, is that when you have a question, I remember one of our students said, "Hey, it was like 3 a.m. and he hit both of us up for a few questions, and within the hour he had responses at 4 a.m. in the morning." Just because as teachers, both of us live by this: the give a man a fish versus teach a man to fish. Very, very, very big difference. And I think that's something that with like-minded people, like-minded investors, like-minded traders in our Discord is something that really does separate ourselves from our competition and from the other people. Another thing that I did want to ask, and I've heard this story before. The ICC Discord's been around for a little bit. Obviously, there are the flow scanner and some of these tools that the users do use. But recently, just in December, we launched STAX and STAX AI. Could you give us a little bit of the history of STAX, how long you've been working on it? What are the uses for it for those that don't know and for those that are just new to this channel? What exactly is STAX and how would you describe it?
Yeah, of course. Quickly going back, as I did start this entire trading and learning these new strategies, I also tried to fine tune my edge, find ways where I can have higher probability in terms of taking on trades. Because trading and investing and whatnot, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You still have to put in the work. You still need to, you get paid pretty much by the decisions you make rather than how long you work. Okay. So if you don't make that right, correct decision, then guess what? You're likely not going to get paid. And from there, you need to have that strong conviction to take on whichever trade it is, XYZ stock, whatever it is. And from there, I learned that there was a great opportunity in terms of how much increase of profit potential I had by using these specific algorithms that we've created with STAX. Now, from there, STAX has been by far one of the highest hit rates and highest potential profit that we can possibly make in terms of having that validation conviction. And then from there, when we did create STAX and we did launch a few months ago, it took me about 3.5, almost 4 years to establish. I can't tell you how many countless developers I've worked with, and you know, unfortunately, they did not see this through. Of course, until I met Derek, quote unquote chef. And he was able to get all the details, all the visions that I had, that I wanted to make a polished product and launch to the public, because this entire software is built around the edge that I found success in. And when I say success, I don't mean just win a trade, two trades. I mean consistently successful, consistently profitable. And that is the biggest key word I think I would need to tell everybody, is that, it doesn't matter if you hit 1,000% banger within one trade. Congratulations to you. That's life-changing money or whatever it is. But in order to be successful in this industry, or in this field of work, you need to find that consistency on top of that validation, on top of that conviction, right? And STAX, especially with our new STAX AI scanner, it brings out the best in every trader out there. I kid you not.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And being a part of the Stacks team, what I can say is what it does is it takes the dark pool scans, takes the options and the equity that's being purchased by the large institutions, the people that have money. And what it does is it filters through it for us to see who happens to know something that we probably don't. It's been obvious throughout the time that we've been working together and throughout the time of not only the Discord, but these last few months of Stacks, where the returns are there. The hit rate is quite high, actually at 90% plus. And we got the receipts to back it up. We've got the data to show. And for those that want to see it, keep in mind we will be posting those on the YouTube. We do post them in the Discord for people to see. And one of the things that I do want to also point out, you mentioned it before too, is this has been a process, and it's been a lot of trial and error too. What Stacks, I do believe, represents is that trial and error, the time that you've spent in analyzing, the time that you've spent in putting together this software. Because again, I do remember in the past, one of the reasons that I decided to join the Discord was due to Kimo's transparency. I do see a lot of other programs out there, other people out there, that all you ever see are the profits. But ultimately, Kimo isn't afraid to show, hey, this trade went south. But because I've managed my risk, because I'm not YOLOing myself into my full portfolio into this, the profits throughout the year are still going to be there. But this was a calculated risk. This was a probability type of trade. And that's ultimately what we are, probability traders. And the thing about Stacks that I really think at the end of the day, having the probabilities on your side only greatly increase your chances of that profitability. And that definitely shows. That definitely is something that our users and our Discord members are able to share with the communities. And that's one thing that we hope, is that through this time, as we continue to grow, that more and more people start to realize how useful of a tool it is that we've created. Not saying that you got to quit your 9 to 5, but it can help aid that process of living a more fruitful life, being able to provide better for your own family and for your loved ones.
Exactly.
What are some of your visions for the future, not only for the Discord, but for Stacks? The ICC has been around for what, 5 years now? but Stacks is still in its infancy. It's still a little baby or a little toddler, if anything, 2 to 3 months. And so, what are some of your visions for the future, and what do you envision for Stacks and for what the software is able to do and provide for the community?
Yeah, great question. So, how I envision Stacks and ICC as a whole right now, bringing it back to how I started, how there are a lot of college graduates, people that are just joining the work field. They don't have that same amount of knowledge that any one of us would have if we never dabble into this field of work, into this industry, right? They don't teach this in college. They don't teach this in a master class at your local city workshop. So we are going to continue to run ICC and Stacks as an ecosystem where there are going to be opportunities for people to come and learn, because the first step is to learn before you earn. Otherwise, guess what? You will get burned. Education is going to be the main backbone of our platform. From there, we want to help and quicken that learning curve for people to dabble into not only just options, but learning how to invest. What kind of portfolio you need to create? What kind of stocks are there? What is this sector about different from this sector? What are market conditions? How can I take advantage of it? All the cycles, etc. Now, from there, we've created Stacks. Stacks is going to be more of the intermediate to advanced traders, more tailored to options traders. However, you can still utilize our software for investing and as also common stock trading, because having this data, this important data that is essentially free to the public, but we've created this platform where it has its own algorithms, it has its own parameters to help you really find those explosive moves prior to them happening. Right. And again, just what Eric has told us, we do have the receipts, we do have the data to support everything that we say today. As we continue to grow this ecosystem that we are striving to create, to find more and more people to have success with, we want to have ICC lead into Stacks, and of course have Stacks become kind of like the mentees to draft and become their own, to find their own success, to find their own edge. But of course, remembering and realizing that, hey, they learned everything from Investor Central Club.
I realized that we actually kind of skipped over here is actually that part of the ecosystem. You've got ICC, the Discord, you've got Stacks, this new software that we've just launched. But a little lesser known is kind of embedded within it is this Investor Central Academy, which is, again, something that I took part in, something that I'm one of the main teachers for as well, alongside with you. Could you shed a little quick light on what ICA exactly is and how some of our viewers, some of the members might be able to take advantage of it if they haven't actually already?
Yeah, so as you said, part of the ecosystem, Investor Central Academy, which is ICA, we've created this program where it takes a completely new beginner trader, it quickens their learning curve in terms of how they can get into the markets a little sooner than later. In general, the idea for ICA, which is hours and hours of information and education, it brings someone up to speed on what they need to understand of the foundations of the stock market, the foundations of options trading, the foundations of where to go to when you need some level of data or information. And from there, this is tailored to the complete beginners, the people that are on the fence. They want to learn before jumping into Stacks, or they want to learn before getting into the Discord. This is tailored to those who just want to have a deeper knowledge. We walk through the A to Z. Not only that, we do have a graduates channel, a graduates chat box, chat room, where we do have continued learning. We want to make sure that not only we're just teaching you and then dropping you off on the side of the road, we are going to remain there. And I don't want to say we're going to hold your hand throughout the entire way, but we will be there when you have any questions. We will be there to clear things up when they are a little bit confusing or whatnot. Because again, even though Investor Central Academy is kind of like a crash course, it is a lot of information, and we know that it is very overwhelming. Now, to finish this course in a matter of 2 to 3 to 4 weeks is doable. However, the learning will never stop, right? Market conditions will always change, and therefore the learning will always need to adapt. But the foundation will never change. And that is very important to anyone that wants to find success in this field of work, in this industry.
Yeah, very good. I'm sure that for those that are interested in doing the learning, you can always message us, message Investor Central, and we're happy to get them started with that process of understanding the markets, joining Investor Central Academy or joining our Discord so that they can participate, they can start their learning process with us. That's basically what I wanted to ask you today, because I know that there's been a lot of people that have been asking me, asking you as well, what is ICC? What is this STAX software? We've been posting quite a bit in terms of the successes of our students, of our members over the course of the last few months. I do believe that this clip, these videos that we're putting together will help people start to understand what it is that we're really about. I wanted to thank you for your time, for your Saturday morning. That way we can put this video together and help other people out, help people understand where things are. Yep, cheers with your morning coffee. And ultimately help them understand how they can get that learning going. Definitely had quite a few people message me, not only on Instagram but privately as well, saying, hey, how do I get involved? How do I get in this? And this is the key of what we wanted to do with this video today. But yes, thank you again for your Saturday morning. I know you're a busy guy, you got your things to do, got your dogs to go take out. We'll reconvene in due time for any updates. I know that STAX is also due for some pretty intense upgrades and updates in the near future as well. So everybody keep your eyes out for that. And I hope that this little interview that we did today will help people understand what it is that we're really about. The education, the possibilities, and the ability to not only support your own family and support your loved ones, but also bring a little bit extra for the fun things that you'd like to do. Any last comments? Any last things, Kimo?
I just want to say thank you for your time, Eric. It's your Saturday morning too. And for the viewers and whatnot, I do want to stress out that we've been working on this for so long. The data is shown, it's backed up. We have the receipts, like I said. I've been doing this as long as can be, over 10 years now. I'm not saying I'm the best trader. I'm not saying I'll lead you to success. I just want to stress the consistency is what is needed. Okay. In terms of options trading, it's been around 8 years now, and I have not stopped options trading. And if you are an intermediate options trader, you do know that the possibility of blowing up your account does happen. And there are people that blow up their accounts and they take years off. I mean, I've taken, a month off or whatnot for vacation, but I've never taken multiple months or years off. I've been here since day one. I found success. I found edge in STAX, which is why we are all very passionate about it. And we want to show the world, we want to show you guys how powerful our platform is. So again, thank you, Eric, for your time. Thank you, everybody else.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys at the next one.